Farming it's a humane or humanity thing. It's very pleasurable to be able to take care of the world, I'd say, or the population or the Kenyan population by feeding them correctly, by ensuring that their food is safe, there's sufficient food, that their food also is nutritional. It comes out from a passion just to assist or to give back to the population or the populace of the country. Michael and Rejam Lugonzo are father and son who are together in agricultural production, which is contractual agricultural production. We are based in Kireka Farm, which is a farm name that we trade with. We are third generation. I am the third generation of a family-run farm, from first generation being Isaac Lugonzo, second generation being Rejam Lugonzo, and third being Michael Shamala Lugonzo. My dad inherited the farm from his father, Isaac Lugonzo, who previously had gotten a loan from, I think previously Agricultural Development Corporation, which aided him in purchasing the farm from a previous colonialist. Later on, he passed it down to his son, Rejam Lugonzo, who continued with production of, under the Kireka Farm brand name. Later on, my old man was able now to pass down not only the assets that he was using and his grandfather were using, but also gene types, like in the cows. We had the same generational type of cow that we're currently using at the farm, which is an Asha, until now passing it down to myself. Asha has high yielding milk and also has a high butterfat content in the milk. So it's good for making, if you continue the value chain, it's very good for cheese, for ghee, for butter, because the milk has a high butterfat content. So we are now sort of trying to move into freshen. We're trying to ensure the milk also is sort of balanced as opposed to being very high in butterfat content. So we have started another generation. This is our new generation now that we're bringing into the fold now. Maybe in the next 3 years we should have an improved variety of the one that we had since father's time now. So once it's third generation, then I can start now the process of ensuring that we get a pedigree breed now. So currently these are just pure Ashas and 2 Fresians at the moment.
How much is the price right now?
Dry?
The current price per kilo for the seed maize.
For the seed maize, it's around 88 shillings at the moment.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Our relationship with AFC, I'd say, still is a generational, is more or less generational. Reason being, my grandfather used to use collateral for the farm to secure financing from Agricultural Finance Corporation. Thereafter, my father did the same as he was taught by his father. And now I later on came to find out about the new products Agricultural Finance Corporation was offering, and I in turn approached Agricultural Finance Corporation to help with the needs at the farm. AFC has always been a partner in that they've always come to check up on us. Year on year, they have always, through their employees, have always come to sensitize us on the various products that they do offer. And through that, we were able to engage with the team from the Kitale office, who assisted us now in narrowing down on the products that can be most suitable for the farm. So we narrowed down to water development loan, which entails taking a loan to develop our water resources, which in turn will assist in doing irrigation. So we took our first facility, which is 22 acres, drip irrigation for 22 acres, including now water storage and supply of the water through gravity of around 1.2 kilometers, piping from the source, which is the river, for 1.2 kilometers to the water reservoirs that now supply to the drip irrigation system. AFC is different because they understand the farmer. Technically, other institutions are more or less are more risk averse when it comes to farmers, but farming being a risky venture in terms of very many aspects that affect agribusiness like climate change or climate conditions, Agricultural Finance Corporation understands the risks behind all this and are able to understand even the farmer to a level where they're able to understand their needs in terms of in repayment and how they schedule their repayments for the loans. As you guys were coming in, I'm sure you crossed a river. Somewhere there's a bridge and a river. So our water system starts there, 1.2 kilometers away, comes through a 4-inch pipe that moves to a 3-inch pipe and later is brought into the tanks through gravity. So at that point on entry, it's around 6201 feet, and where we're standing now is around 68,000 feet. So 6,800 feet. So the difference in altitude is what brings in the gravity effect, where we're not using any fuel and any water and any diesel to pump the water into the tanks. Now, thanks to AFC, that is what the piping system that has come all across using a HDPE pipe, moved down to a 3-inch pipe, is what has been able to bring enough pressure to bring into the tanks now. Then from there, it comes down into a filtration system that is here. So these filters are able now to, to distill any soil particles that are within the water as it is coming from the river. The soil particles challenges us because once they go into the dripper, they go and clog the dripping system. So the dripper is this part of the drip. So once this is clogged, that means the dripping system is we're not able sufficiently to feed the plant with water. So these drippers are the ones that actually feed the soil with water. Yeah. Water is, I think, basically a basic factor of production in agriculture. Without water, and I mean water being not rain, but water itself, is the key, is mainly a key, if not the most key factor in the production. We are able to produce more efficiently because when the crop requires the water at the right timing, it's able to receive, and therefore production remains consistent, and also the production remains production continues to increase the crop volumes in terms of output as well. It also assists in the number of times you can be able to turn over a crop during the year. From one time, which is now, instead of following the rain-fed irrigation, meaning once a year, which is the rainy season, we're able to do 3 times a year, meaning our output is 3 times what it was before the water development. We pass through here. I need more money. I need more money because there is so much potential in being able to partner with an institution that can be able to develop the resource that we have. Our biggest resource being the land, or the soil, I'd say, not even the land, the soil that we have under our stewardship. But more so, we require additional financing to be able to develop the areas, 80% of the areas that we have not developed under the irrigation. We also continue to ask for assistance in terms of ensuring that we are always in communication to be able to check up on how the farmers are doing and to be able even to assist in marketing our produce to other enterprises in order for us to have more traction in terms of market. Currently we have 3 crops under production on the horticultural side. We have French beans, which is our main crop. We have cabbages for rotational. We also have sorghum under rotational and also under drip. We are looking at other enterprises which we are sourcing for markets, such as capsicum, tomatoes, and we have also done onions under drip irrigation. Diversified production comes in basically where you need to maintain your cash flows at a certain level in order to meet your working capital needs. We started off, of course, with singular crops which complement each other, which is the dairy would complement the crop production, in that the dairy would give us manure for the crop production, and in turn the crop production would give us feeds for the animals as well. So in that, later on we moved on into other ventures into the agricultural sector, being horticulture, which now aided in working capital because it ensures that we have a quarterly income, and later on moved on to different crops with different maturity periods that help us now in managing the working capital, our cash flows through the working capital now. We have the ready crop, which is this. So this is what they're currently harvesting at the moment. In each block, they'll take just a pinch of that. So this is like the grade now you get from this is quite good because this is quite straight. It's thin and straight. This is what actually the producer, the aggregator wants now from us. Our main challenge, of course, is the climate change that we're not only facing as individuals, but for every farmer across the world. We are trying to tackle climate change with the new technologies such as the drip irrigation systems, water conservation such as water ponds and reservoirs. We're also trying to use modern technology such as raising beds, minimal tillage, to be able now to conserve the little water that is below the soil base. All these ladies behind me, the lovely ladies behind me, are our harvesters. We don't have a lot of crop at the moment. We're only doing around half an acre of crop harvesting. They later come in from harvesting and come in here to do the sorting. So sorting means grading, looking, as I said, looking at the injured ones, looking at Bobby. Bobby does not go. It's not a viable French bean. And then they look at the quality. If anything has an injury, such as this, it should not go. If it's muddy, they have to do the cleaning because at the moment the rains are quite heavy. On a day-to-day basis, we have around 150 permanent employees. We have casuals. We have to back up the labor to around the tune of 300 to 400 employees who basically come into during the high peak season, such as harvesting, such as planting, or other various areas such as fertilization of the crops. The impact has been big on the community and also on the farm. Without the workers, we cannot be able to move as much output as we do currently. And for the employees out there, we are so happy because they are able to have a dignified living for themselves and are able, even the current youthful population that is aspiring from our peri-urban neighbors are able to get employment that has assisted them in even helping their parents who were actually still employed by the farm previously but had to retire. Here behind us we have a charcoal cooler. It's a basic preservation method traditional actually. What happens is that we have stacked up charcoal around the cooling area, and later on we switch on the water to drip down the charcoal, and as the wind passes, it causes a cooling effect, and that's now how we were able to store the French bean for a day or two, depending on our producers, our marketers, our takers who come to collect, whether they'll come on a day or two after. %of the farm is under reliable water resource, which is now the irrigation. We still have 80% of the farm on rainfed, and that of course has affected our yield capacity or potential to produce. Our strategic plan basically in 5 years is to ensure that we have 80% of the remaining arable area under irrigation. So we're looking at pivot irrigation. We're looking at setting up bigger water resource reserves such as dams, and we're also looking to improve our mechanization in order for us to be able to do minimal tillage and to ensure that the technology helps us in also increasing our output. At the moment, I'd say the biggest technological advancement or technological tool that we're using is in the water resource, which is the water irrigation. Drip irrigation, unlike overhead irrigation, ensures that you conserve the little water or the water that you have, and the water that you have is able to goes to a specific crop. So the technology in that is that your dripper is at where the root or the base root of the crop. Secondly, we use sensors, pH sensors that help us now ensure, or pH and water sensors that ensure that we know how much water we are giving to a certain crop, and if it's too much, then we reduce whatever rate we're giving. If the pH is a bit high, then we know how to lime and be able to reduce the pH of the crop to be able to be optimal. This crop has just entered into flowering and is moving. A crop like this is now moving into fruiting. So the flowers are just currently being pollinated, and eventually once that happens, it now starts fruiting, moving into a stage like this, and eventually now you get to a point where this is now grain filling now, where the sorghum itself is starting to be filled. So this has around another month to go, a crop like this, and now it's ready for, once it dries up and meets a moisture level of 13, it's ready for harvesting. Yeah. Kireka Farm has tried to uniquely set itself up in terms of market linkages by signing contracts. All our crops at the moment are under contract, aside from the rotational crop of cabbage. So we have the biggest contract we have is under seed, which we do contracts with Kenya Seed under seed maize farming, seed multiplication. Secondly, we have the second biggest contract we have is with beans, which is with companies such as Cultural and Bubai, who we do seed multiplication for as well. Thirdly, we have VegPro, who have come in as a very strong partner on the horticultural end. VegPro takes French beans from us, and actually, due to the fluctuation of market of the brassica, which is a cabbage, they have been able to come up strategically to also give us tender stem broccoli to be able to produce for the export market. For the brassica, which is a cabbage, we are yet to find a market link that is continuous and is assured. So currently we market our produce to aggregators who take their produce to Lodwar, who take their produce to towns such as West Pokot, Turkana, and also as far even as southern Sudan. So those are the aggregators who've been able to come into play. However, the market still fluctuates for the ones that we don't have contracts with, and that's where the challenge comes in, because our capital sometimes, the capital that we have put in place sometimes does not actually remove the output that we actually put in. We want to centralize this place into an apiary where we can have the main stock of bees, and then now we move them to other different areas across the farm. Bees have propolis, which is quite good for the skin. It's good in reducing acidity if one has acidity. It's basically medicine, so it's all-in-one basically insect. So it'll help us with the pollination, because we do seed production at the farm, both beans and maize. That seed, the pollination of the seed will be able now to produce higher yielding or higher output in terms of the seed produced. Without bees, we don't have synchronization, which is now, when you see a cob and a cob has less fertilized maize cobs, or maize seeds, sorry, in a cob, that means that that section was not fertilized. So that means we're trying to get a large population of bees, so now we spread them across the farm so that fertilization is better, and then we can also benefit from the wax, the propolis, and the honey as well. So we're trying to also be sort of self-sufficient as a farm. Biggest advice I'd give to a horticultural farmer or any farmer out there would be, the soil is your biggest asset. It's where all the organisms are. All your produce comes from the soil. Nutritionally, the soil has to be healthy. And if the soil is healthy, then the crop will be healthy. So the biggest asset would be to ensure that, the biggest advice I'd give is to ensure that continuous testing of your soil, to ensure that the soil health is at the top or the best that it can be. Now, what does that mean as well? It translates now to aspects of crop rotation, where you're able to look at the crops that you're growing and what crop is taking what out of the soil, and what other crop can be able to bring in something that the other crop took out. So in that sense, the soil is able to maintain a sort of balance. Not one nutrient has been taken out too much, and whatever is coming in subsequently will take out the same nutrient, therefore leaving the soil without any deficiency of a certain nutrient. So the biggest asset is the soil. Rotation is the key to ensuring that your soils are healthy.